Hi, everybody. It's Jeff Allen here, and I want to be making a video. I'm doing this video on kind of the tips of the day for the kind of the language industry and all that, and content creation, translation, all those kinds of things. Localization for you to use that word, use that technical term. So this video is called "Do You Want Some Tea?" Now, tea. What does that mean? Well, I'm going to get to the tea part of it, what it means, after I explain why we need the tea. This industry has been haunted and plagued by the fact that for the past 30 years, the past 30, even up to 40 years now, everyone has been calling translation memories CAT tools, computer assisted translation, computer aided translation. Who in the world made that stupid decision 3 decades ago? Who made that decision? That's so stupid. CAT tools, a cat tool, a cat. Okay, a cat. Computer-aided translation tool. It's a generic term. It's not a specific thing. So whoever invented that, a computer is a computer-aided translation tool. Okay, a computer is. A phone can be a computer-aided translation tool. Okay. So these are not programs. These are not things. And I remember when we were working on was considered the time to be the machine translation survey with John. It would have been John Hutchins, and I think Ed Hovey and I were talking about it, and John Hutchins was working on. And John Hutchins was a librarian. He was an expert on MT from the historical point of view, but he's a librarian, so he knew about categorization. And when he wanted to make a kind of a work on a inventory of all the machine translation tools, he went through and categorized what they were. And I remember one time I said, well, you need to add the translation memories. And I said, we need to add this, we need to add that. And he had each tool. It ended up being called the Compendium for Translation Software. That's what it's called. 15 versions of that done by John Hutchins, rest in peace. And that was a really good thing. And I saw a couple weeks ago that NIMSD had their language technology atlas, and then it was kind of, why did it have those terms? Why did it have this, that? And somebody said, why isn't the CAT tools or this? And I saw that Konstantin, brought up that that when he had actually made the original list, he kind of debated back and forth to call these things, and then finally there was in there, but then it kind of got deleted or got removed a little bit later. Thank God it got deleted, because a computer-aided translation, it's people have been using this for so long for no reason. Call a translation memory call, or call automatic translation, or call machine translation, call them other things, okay? And this also comes back to the fact that some people think that translation memory is not the same thing as MT. Well, yes, it is. Come on, folks, do your historical research. Back in 1984, Agao actually called it example-based machine translation. And I've written papers on this and explained it. And I said, the sexy name for this, I read a paper in what, it was 1998? Was 1998, Chris and I did it, or 2000? It was the 1998 paper, the 2000 paper at LREC. Something about improving terminology, something enhancing all that, using example-based machine translation. It's just it's just translation management. Translation memory. But everybody refers to it as not being machine translation. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You need to understand it. It is. It's just that it's a different name for it, a commercially named, right? A little more better marketing name than example-based machine translation. Okay. So these are examples of why this field is been haunted by these terms, that some of these terms that have been used, like computer-aided translation, it just makes people sound like they're slaves. I'm sorry, I'm using the word slave. It sounds like they're just they're employees working at things like, and we're doing this kind of thing, and I'm subject to the computer, and the computer's going to make me do things, and we're all kind of having we're all against the computer, right? And it makes it, the whole thing is just like kind of like, we have to obey the computer. A lot of the terminology and the fear factor that's in there, it's because people are, the tool name sometimes just makes it And then forget. I mean, I see this human in the loop. That sounds so ridiculous. Why? Because it's like the computer is an important thing, and the person is, well, another add-on, right? Another add-on. Um, and that just devalorizes the whole thing of the human. Um, I mean, we've been talking about this for decades. And we need to, and I've been saying it for so long. I mean, it's just, hey, it's human computer interaction, HCI. And this is what we call it in the technical world, HCI, human computer interaction. But in this field, it's kind of like there's this thing against technology and stuff. So I've been thinking back to the T, right? How can we find a way to kind of get away from the cat thing, okay, the cat tool thing, get away from having terms that human in the loop or these things that make it sound like the human is kind of a substandard thing compared to the technology. So what's T mean? Well, I thought about this today, probably driving the car, and I thought we need to call this translation enablement applications. Okay, T. Translation enablement applications. Enablement. I kind of struggle with it. I don't like the word enablement because I actually work for a team that's called enablement, enablement team. But the thing is, we're supposed to enable others to do things, right? We're helping others do their tasks and providing infrastructure services for people to do their tasks, right? So, but this is exactly what it is. I mean, these are enablement tools, right? Software programs, apps. What do you want to call these things? Okay, I don't want to get into the difference between software programs and apps and systems, right? And platforms, but let's just say they're all the same thing. And so, I mean, we need to be more specific about some of the terms we use for the software we've got, and get away from these generic terms that are like they're over encompassing terms that just mean it's kind of a catch-all, right? So we need to. I mean, in other industries, you don't do this. I mean, just you call the tool the type it is, right? And but somehow this industry is kind of this way, and on top of it, just it in the fact of kind of devalorizing the the human and all this, it all focuses on the fact that these are kind of low kind of priority tasks and kind of cheap tasks. And then we struggle about how we want to pay, and then the whole thing comes down to is how much it's going to cost. It's all per word, right? And so we get into this whole commoditization of the pricing, right? So all this comes into play, and and I'm kind of joking about T, right? Well, no, I'm not, but I think that we need to step out and say, hey, look, the people are the thing. It's a really important thing. The technology is tools that people use. The tools help them achieve tasks, and it helps them do more work. And we need to get, if people want to sit there and fight against it, fine. Don't use the tool. Use a pen and paper, which is a tool. Find another way to do it. But these things are coming, and this will fit into, this will go into all these new AI, artificial intelligence apps and coming. And I'm not going to talk about that here because I get a whole series called AI Solutions and Ethics on my YouTube channel as well. So I talk a lot more and a lot of little videos to kind of explain that, kind of these 5 to 15 minute videos to kind of explain each topic separately. But I think just, we need to find a way to get away from generic terms when we're talking about specific things, and not, and people just need to accept that, machine translation memories are machine translation. That's what it is. And that's the actual real name for it. So, and people need to get away from, well, we gotta simplify the thing to make it understandable. No, the more you start simplifying things, it makes it actually I mean, it's good to simplify things. I'm not saying it's not bad, but here there are times, use the term to make it sound like it's complicated to be able to sell your price, sell your value higher, folks, to people that want to buy it. When you start, I'm using computer aided translation tools. That sounds so, yeah. I'm not gonna say it. So I just stopped doing. I mean, we called things machine assisted human translation and human assisted machine translation. We had this back in the early 2000s. We had this stuff. We were thinking about it. It's kind of like forget about it. Just these are tools. Some of it you use the tool and you don't do anything afterwards, and a lot of things you do. You're just so don't worry about it. Just price it and go on with it and sell more. That's what it comes down to. So that's my thoughts for today in the word share kind of a series here. Thanks so much.